Hey, it's Dave Salvatore of Blueline Design. Thanks for coming back to watch part 3 in my series, How to Build a Maquette. Today I'm going to continue sculpting all the fun details of the Headless Horseman, so let's get right into it. The first thing that I did is start to make a bunch of cool little buckles out of milliput. Then I sculpted parts of the sword. The reason why I use milliput is you can sand it after it dries rock hard. I then used green stuff to sculpt all of the belts that would go on his wrists and ankles. I was able to press into the green stuff the little buckles that I had sculpted previously. Using Sculpey clay, I began to work on the armor. The plan was to sculpt his armor onto his body so that it would be form-fit, remove it, and then bake it separately. Anyone that's worked with Sculpey knows that it's a very gummy clay, so it's difficult to get hard edges like you would see in armor. The reason why I'm using Sculpey for this project is because it's fast, you can bake it, which is a perfect clay to work in because you can communicate your idea quickly. I'll then brush it out with 99% alcohol to help smooth out the imperfections. Once the armor is finished, I carefully loosen it from the body to bake in the oven. After the armor's been baked, I clean up any rough edges and fix any cracks with green stuff. I then go back to sculpting more belt details. Now it's time to start working on the jack-o'-lantern. I create a form by wrapping a rock in tinfoil. The plan is to create a thin shell that I will bake and then have a hard form to sculpt on top of. I place a magnet into the form because I want the jack-o'-lantern to be able to stick onto his hand or onto his neck. After I bake the form, I carefully remove it from the foil-covered rock. I also put magnets into each half of the form for the pumpkin. This will allow me to take it apart so that I can install the light. I now have a solid foundation to begin sculpting the jack-o'-lantern. I sculpted the stem and the vine using green stuff. With all the pieces completed, I can now begin to assemble the maquette and prime it for painting. I decided to embed magnets into the body of the Headless Horseman so that I could attach the armor. With all the details attached, it was time to prime the maquette. It's a good idea to shake the can at least 2 minutes. Most of the problems I have with priming come from not shaking it long enough. Guys, don't use cheap primer. I sprayed it on the model and it left a tacky surface all over it. Thankfully, I had a can of Army Painter, which saved the day. Use good primer. It's about $10 more, but worth every penny. I use XPS foam to carve out the rest of the cobblestones on the base. I then use hot glue to attach them to the base and a piece of balled up tin foil to add texture to the cobblestones. I learned that a Sharpie is great for putting cracks into the XPS foam. There's something about the ink in a Sharpie that kind of melts the foam a little bit. I then painted a base coat over top of the cobblestones using a mixture of Mod Podge with craft paint, and then finished up the trim of the base using black craft paint. Here's the final Maquette sculpture, primed and ready to paint. In the next video, I'll share my process to paint the Headless Horseman. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button, and until next time, keep drawing, keep designing.